Vancouver Canucks versus Washington Capitals, a pair of teams with playoff aspirations, meet on Sunday as the Vancouver Canucks visit the Washington Capitals at Capital One Arena. Vancouver enters at 3-0, carrying a modest winning record and hoping to build consistency after a mixed start. Washington, on the other hand, sits at 4-1-0 and looks every bit like a team rediscovering its old form, with a confident mix of veteran leadership and young energy. Both clubs have found early offensive rhythm, setting the stage for a compelling East versus West showdown that could signal where each team truly stands. The storyline centers on balance. Vancouver's search for stability behind goaltender Thatcher Demko contrasts with Washington's early surge behind emerging scorer Tom Wilson and a deep defensive structure. The Canucks, 2-1 on the road, have played well away from Rogers Arena, while the Capitals have been tough at home with a 2-1 mark, powered by efficient special teams and steady goaltending. This matchup could be an early measuring stick for both, offering a glimpse at their postseason potential. Goaltending will take center stage. For Vancouver, Thatcher Demko, 2-1-0, 2.03 GAA, .929%, remains their backbone, capable of stealing games when the defense falters. His calm presence and ability to control rebounds have been crucial, though backup Kevin Lankinen, 2.91 goals against average, .912 save percentage, offers solid relief. Washington counters with Logan Thompson, 3-1-0, 1.76 GAA, 922%, whose early season form has been outstanding, giving the Capitals reliability they sorely missed last year. Charlie Lindgren, 1-0-0, 0.00 GAA, 1.000 SV%, has also been flawless in limited action, providing insurance if Thompson falters. The duel between Demko's athleticism and Thompson's composure could ultimately dictate the tempo. Offensively, Vancouver leans on winger Connor Garland, who has registered 4 points, 1 goal, 3 assists, to start the season, driving play with his quick release and creativity. Brock Boeser continues to be the team's primary finisher with 3 goals, including a power play tally. Their chemistry has fueled a power play clicking at 18.8%, though consistency remains an issue. For Washington, Tom Wilson leads the way with 7 points, 3 goals, 4 assists, setting the tone both physically and offensively. Aliaksei Protas has emerged as a breakout story, netting 4 goals on 16 shots, demonstrating a scorer's touch and relentless energy. Washington's top 6 forwards are capitalizing on their chances despite ranking near the bottom of the league in shots per game, 31.8 SA per G versus 25.2 SA/G allowed, proof of their clinical finishing. Recent form favors the Capitals. Washington has won 4 of its last 5, including convincing victories over Minnesota, 5-1, and the Islanders, 4-2, with their only loss coming to Boston. Vancouver's record is more uneven, alternating wins and losses, but showing resilience, including a shootout win over Chicago and a gutsy 5-3 road victory in Dallas. Defensively, the Canucks have allowed 2.80 goals per game, a touch better than Washington's 2.80, though their penalty kill, 78.9%, lags behind the Capitals' 63.6%. Vancouver's 31.0 shots allowed per game could spell trouble against a Washington offense that punishes mistakes. Injuries could play a major role. Vancouver remains shorthanded on the blue line, missing Derek Forbort, IR, October 19th, Jet Wu, IR/NR, November 29th, and Guillaume Brisebois, IR/NR, November 1st. Winger Niels Höglander, IR, November 26th, also leaves a hole in their depth scoring. Washington's absences are lighter but still notable, with Pierre-Luc Dubois, IR, October 21st, and Dylan McIlrath, IR, October 19th, sidelined, though their defensive core remains intact. The Capitals' healthier roster and stronger defensive cohesion could tilt the balance late in the game. The X factors are clear. Vancouver must rely on Demko's goaltending and Bozer's scoring touch to neutralize Washington's forecheck. For the Capitals, secondary scoring and power play conversion could prove decisive, especially if Wilson continues his hot streak. Discipline will matter. Vancouver averages 44 penalty minutes to Washington's 26, and special teams execution may determine who controls momentum. Prediction: expect a tightly contested game, with Washington's depth and goaltending edge at home giving them the advantage. Vancouver's offense should keep it close, but fatigue and defensive injuries could catch up late, potentially opening up opportunities for high-danger chances. Projected score: Capitals 4, Canucks 2. Probability breakdown: Washington 60%, Vancouver 40%. Still, if Demko stands on his head, an upset isn't out of the question, just unlikely against a confident Capitals squad thriving early in the season and showing consistency in both special teams and 5-on-5 play. After analyzing both teams, my pick for this match is Washington Capitals winner. Drop your thoughts and predictions in the comments box. Edmonton Oilers versus Detroit Red Wings. The Edmonton Oilers and Detroit Red Wings meet at Little Caesars Arena in what promises to be a compelling early-season showdown between two teams trending in different directions. Edmonton enters at 2-2-1, trying to find consistency after a tough road stretch, while Detroit has surged to a 4-1-0 record, asserting itself as an early Eastern Conference contender. This matchup pits the Oilers' offensive star power, led by Connor McDavid and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, against the Red Wings' balanced attack and hot goaltending. Both teams are dealing with key injuries, but with McDavid and Dylan Larkin leading their squads, this clash carries the energy of two teams hungry to establish momentum heading into late October. In net, the goaltender comparison could be decisive. For Edmonton, Stuart Skinner, 1-1-1, 1.97 GAA, 921 save percentage, has been solid in limited action, giving his team a chance to win every night. Backup Calvin Pickard, 100, 4.00 GAA, 0.865 SV%, has struggled more, leaving Skinner as the clear starter for this tilt. On the Detroit side, Cam Talbot has been the story, starting the season 3-0 with an impressive 1.78 GAA and 932 save percentage. The veteran netminder has stabilized Detroit's defense and brought confidence to a young blue line. Behind him, John Gibson, 1-1-0, 3.57 GAA, 0.867 SV%, offers veteran depth but hasn't been as sharp. Talbot's steadiness against Edmonton's elite scorers may determine whether Detroit continues its winning run or finally slips at home. Offensively, this game features some of the NHL's brightest stars. Connor McDavid leads Edmonton with 7 points, 0 goals, 7 assists through 5 games, serving more as a playmaker early in the season, while Ryan Nugent-Hopkins has handled the goal-scoring load with 4 tallies, including 1 on the power play. McDavid's chemistry with Nugent-Hopkins remains the team's offensive engine, though secondary scoring has been inconsistent. For Detroit, Captain Dylan Larkin mirrors McDavid's production with 7 points, 3G, 4A, driving play in all zones. His line mate Alex DeBrincat has added 6 assists, showcasing his vision and playmaking touch, while the Red Wings' power play has quietly been one of the league's most efficient units. Both offenses can explode, but Detroit's balance and special teams' edge could tilt the scales. Recent form tells the story of two teams heading in opposite directions. The Oilers have lost 3 of their last 5, including back-to-back defeats against New Jersey, 5-3, and the Islanders, 4-2. Their only bright spots came in a 2-0 shutout over the Rangers and a 3-1 home win against Vancouver, proving they can control games when their defense holds up. Detroit, conversely, has won 4 straight following an early loss to Montreal, knocking off top teams like Florida 4-1. and Toronto twice, including a dominant 6-3 win. The Red Wings have outscored opponents 16-8 in that stretch, powered by sharp goaltending and strong special teams, converting on 22.2% of their power plays and killing off over 91% of penalties. Injuries could play a major role. Edmonton is without defensemen Alec Regula and Jake Wallman, both out until October 19th, along with forwards Matthias Janmark, IR, and Zach Hyman, IRLT, out until November 1st. Losing Hyman's scoring presence on the wing forces McDavid and Nugent-Hopkins to shoulder even more of the offensive load. Detroit's injury list is equally impactful, with Patrick Kane, out until October 22nd, sidelined, and young stars Lucas Raymond, day-to-day, Shea Boyum, and Nate Danielson, both IRNR, until October 25th, limiting lineup depth. Raymond's potential return could boost Detroit's top 6 attack, but they've managed fine without him thanks to Larkin and DeBrincat's chemistry. Edmonton averages 2.50 goals for and allows 2.00 per game, showing solid defense but limited offense. Detroit posts 3.20 goals per game with a 2.40 GAA, powered by a deeper forward group and steady defense. Both teams have disciplined penalty kills, Edmonton at 85.7%, Detroit at 91.7%. But the Oilers' power play, 23.1%, will need to outperform Detroit's 22.2% if they hope to win on the road. X factors are McDavid creating with a depleted cast and Skinner matching Talbot in net. If Nugent-Hopkins stays hot and Edmonton limits Larkin's line, the Oilers could steal a low-scoring game. However, Detroit's home ice advantage, superior special teams, and balanced scoring depth make them a formidable opponent. Expect a tight contest, possibly decided by a late power play goal or goaltending heroics. Prediction: Detroit Red Wings 3, Edmonton Oilers 2. Detroit's defense and Talbot's composure give them a slight edge, while the Oilers' offense may rebound. But Detroit's momentum and home dominance could carry the day. After analyzing both teams, my pick for this match is Detroit Red Wings winner. Drop your thoughts and predictions in the comments box. Anaheim Ducks versus Chicago Blackhawks. The Anaheim Ducks and Chicago Blackhawks are set to square off in a Western Conference showdown at the United Center on Sunday, featuring two teams looking to find consistency early in the 2025-26 NHL season. Both clubs enter the matchup with identical 2-2-2 records, sitting in the middle of their respective divisions. Anaheim sits 5th in the Pacific Division with 4 points, while Chicago occupies 6th in the Central with 6. The Ducks, still developing under a young core, face a Blackhawks squad blending youthful promise with established veterans. With both teams coming off inconsistent stretches, this matchup represents a pivotal chance to gain early season momentum. In goal, the edge leans slightly toward Chicago. Spencer Knight has been sharp through 2 starts, posting a 2.22 goals against average and a .924 save percentage, giving the Blackhawks stability between the pipes. Backup Arvid Soderblom has been less reliable, allowing 3.46 goals per game with an .881 save percentage. Anaheim, meanwhile, is still sorting out its net-minding situation. Lucas Dostal has shown flashes but sports a 3.40 GAA and .886 save percentage, while Peter Mrazek's 6.02 GAA and .739 save percentage indicate ongoing struggles. If Knight gets the start, his composure and rebound control could tilt the defensive matchup toward Chicago, especially given Anaheim's recent defensive lapses. Offensively, both clubs have relied on balanced production. For Anaheim, Leo Carlsson leads the charge with 6 points, 2 goals, 4 assists, demonstrating the poise expected of a top-line center. His playmaking, particularly on the power play, has been a bright spot in an offense averaging 3.25 goals per game. Chris Kreider remains the Ducks' primary finisher with 4 goals, 3 of them on the power play, showing his trademark net front presence. Chicago's scoring is led by Frank Nazar, who matches Karlsson's 6 points, but adds a dynamic north-south skating style that challenges defenses in transition. Veteran Ilya Mikheyev has been a force with 3 goals, including a power play marker, while Teuvo Teravainen's 5 assists underscore his continued importance as the team's creative heartbeat. Recent trends suggest both teams have been up and down. Anaheim has alternated wins and losses over its last 5 games, highlighted by a 7-6 overtime thriller against San Jose, but marred by defensive breakdowns in a 4-1 loss to Carolina. The Ducks have struggled to contain opposing shooters, allowing 4.00 goals per game while averaging 31.5 shots for, an indicator of offensive effort undermined by poor defensive discipline. Chicago's recent stretch has been steadier, going 2-2-1, with a resounding 8-3 win over St. Louis, showing their offensive potential. However, overtime losses to Vancouver and Boston suggest trouble closing out tight games. The Blackhawks' penalty kill has been slightly better, 82.1%, compared to Anaheim's 70%, which could prove decisive if special teams become a factor. Injuries could play a major role. Anaheim remains without center Ryan Strome, IR, expected return October 31, and Jansen Harkins, IR, November 22, thinning their forward depth. Chicago has its own absences, Jason Dickinson, day-to-day, and Nick Foligno, out until October 23, limit the forward rotation, while veteran defenseman Shea Weber remains on long-term injured reserve. These absences leave both clubs leaning more heavily on their young stars, with prospects like Nazar and Karlsson expected to shoulder offensive responsibility. In terms of standings outlook, the stakes are significant. The Ducks are trying to stay within reach of the Pacific's top tier, currently led by unbeaten Vegas and surging Seattle. Chicago, sitting mid-pack in a tough Central Division dominated by Colorado and Winnipeg, cannot afford to fall behind early. A win here would push either team closer to contention while preventing early season pressure from mounting. X factors will likely determine the outcome. For Anaheim, the key lies in defensive containment. If Dostal can steady his play and the Ducks limit penalties, their potent top line could outscore Chicago's attack. For the Blackhawks, Knight's goaltending and the continued chemistry between Nazar and Teravainen could be the difference. Secondary scoring will also be pivotal. Players like Chris Kreider for Anaheim and Ilya Mikheyev for Chicago could swing the momentum with timely goals. Prediction: Chicago 4, Anaheim 3. With steadier goaltending and efficient special teams, the Blackhawks are slight favorites, 56% win probability. Expect a fast-paced, competitive game, but Chicago's structure and home ice edge should prevail. After analyzing both teams, my pick for this match is Chicago Blackhawks winner. Drop your thoughts and predictions in the comments box. Boston Bruins versus Utah Mammoth. The Boston Bruins travel west to face the Utah Mammoth in a cross-conference showdown that carries early season significance for both clubs. Boston enters at 3-2-0 and sits fourth in the Atlantic Division, while Utah holds a matching 3-2-0 record but is contending in the competitive Central Division. The Bruins are pushing to build consistency after alternating wins and losses to start the campaign, while the Mammoth, still a relatively young franchise, are looking to cement themselves as legitimate contenders in their second season in Utah. Both teams have shown flashes of offensive strength, but their defensive structures and special teams could determine the outcome in Salt Lake City. Goaltending will be under the spotlight. Boston has rotated effectively between Jeremy Swayman and Joonas Korpisalo, but Swayman is expected to get the nod after posting a 2-1-0 record with a 2.68 goals against average and a .916 save percentage. His calm positioning and strong rebound control have kept Boston competitive in tight games. Korpisalo remains a reliable option, but his .851 save percentage suggests he is still settling into his role. Utah counters with Karel Vejmelka, who has been a pillar in net early this season. With a 3.10 record, 2.00 GAA, and .912 save percentage, Vejmelka has shown the ability to steal games when defensive lapses occur. Backup Vitek Vanacek has been less sharp, 2.01 GAA, .846 SV%, making it likely the Mammoth rely on Vejmelka in this matchup. In what projects to be a close physical contest, the goaltending duel could be decisive. Offensively, both teams lean heavily on elite forwards. Boston superstar David Pastrnak leads the Bruins with 6 points, 2 goals, 4 assists, and continues to be the focal point of their power play and transition game. His chemistry with the Bruins' top line has been deadly, especially off the rush. Meanwhile, Utah counters with Nick Schmaltz, who leads his team with 7 points, 3 goals, 4 assists. Schmaltz thrives in open ice and generates high-quality chances with quick zone entries and sharp puck movement. Both teams have strong, top-heavy scoring, but depth production could separate them. Boston's secondary scoring has improved, with contributions from players like Charlie Coyle and Pavel Zacha, though consistency remains an issue. Utah's offensive depth has been less tested, but its young supporting cast has stepped up when needed. Recent form hints at contrasting momentum. The Bruins are 3-2 in their last 5, but inconsistency has plagued them. Narrow losses to Tampa Bay and Vegas exposed defensive breakdowns. Utah, however, has won 3 of its last 5, including statement victories over San Jose and Calgary. At home, the Mammoth have been strong, posting a 2-0 mark in the Delta Center so far. Boston's road record of 1-1-0 suggests they can compete away from home, but elevation and travel fatigue may play a role late in the game. Special teams could be a swing factor. Boston boasts a 15.8% power play and a strong 90% penalty kill. Utah's special teams are less efficient, with a 10% power play and 73.7% penalty kill. If whistles are frequent, Boston carries a clear advantage. Injuries may shape the lineup. Boston will miss defenseman Hampus Lindholm, who is day-to-day slightly impacting their defensive rotations. Utah is dealing with significant absences on the blue line, with Sean Durzi, Juuso Valimaki, Terrell Goldsmith, and Anson Thornton on injured reserve, along with forward Alexander Kerfoot, creating a thinner and less experienced defensive core. The Mammoth's weakened defense places additional pressure on Vejmelka in net and forces younger, less tested players into expanded roles, making them more vulnerable to Boston's structured attack and opportunistic scoring chances. The X factors in this matchup are Boston's defensive discipline and Utah's home ice energy. If the Bruins limit turnovers, protect the puck, and control neutral zone play, they can slow Utah's counterattack and force lower percentage opportunities. For the Mammoth, crowd support, timely transitions, and opportunistic scoring could tilt momentum, particularly in tight situations, making every shift and possession critical as both teams vie to assert control in a high-stakes, fast-paced contest. Prediction: Boston holds the edge in special teams and experience, but Utah's home advantage and opportunistic play make it a close contest. Goaltending will likely decide the outcome, with every save magnified under pressure. Bruins 3, Mammoth 2, Boston edges out a defensive battle, but Utah keeps it close until the final horn, forcing tense late-game situations and showcasing the importance of every possession in a matchup this evenly matched. After analyzing both teams, my pick for this match is Boston Bruins winner. Drop your thoughts and predictions in the comments box.